G'day everyone, Connor here from CW's Tech Reviews, back with another video, and today we're doing a quick review of the Moto G5S Plus. A lot of Motorola phones released this year. G5S Plus is a good one. Let's get stuck into it. So a lot of you might be asking, here we go, another mid-range device by Motorola. Whatever, it's the same as the last one, it's the same as the next one. And look, to some degree that is true. The Moto G5S Plus is an in-betweener. It's not quite your Moto G5 or your Moto G5 Plus. It's not quite your Moto X4. It's somewhere in between. Does it still deserve your money? Possibly. Let's go and have a look at the specs to start with. So the Moto G5S Plus is a 5.5 inch display. Looks pretty good. It's an IPS LCD display. Comes with a Snapdragon 625. This is a proven chipset. Definitely one that has good battery life and fairly good performance as well. So you can't be disappointed with the Snapdragon 625 in the Moto G5S Plus. It also comes with an octa-core CPU with an Adreno 506 GPU to support that as well. The model I have comes with 32 gigs of storage and 3 gigs of RAM. It's got two 13 megapixel cameras on the back and an 8 megapixel camera on the front, and it also comes with a 3000 milliamp hour battery, which is plenty enough for the Snapdragon 625. So pretty good specs for the price. So look, you go and have a search of what you can get this device for now, and you'll be happy with that price for the specs you get with it. I am not disappointed with this device. I think in Australia we're talking $349, that's on special. So anywhere else in the world that's like 200 bucks. So definitely go out, find it, and if this is your budget or this is your price range, those specs are going to be hard to beat. Now I'm going to look at the design. Now this is a really nice device. You've got the aluminium on the back, which looks really nice. You've got the Motorola dimple in the middle there. The typical camera hump. I can't say too much about that. It is what it is. You've got the antenna bands at the top and bottom. Nice chamfered edges the whole way around. You can see that shine on the chamfered edges. You got your headphone jack on the top, micro USB and the speaker on the bottom with a microphone and a couple other microphones floating around. On the front you've got your 8 megapixel snapper, your flash, your earpiece and your fingerprint scanner, which in my liking is just as fast as any other, and it also puts the device to sleep as well. On the left hand side of the device you've got your SIM card tray and your micro SD slot. On the right hand side you've got your power button, and above that you've got your volume up and down. So all really nicely designed. Again, for this price you've got to be happy with this design. Now we're going to quickly talk about the software of the Moto G5S Plus. Now I was pleasantly surprised when I first unwrapped the Moto G5S Plus and started playing around with it. Real basic, real plain Android flavour to the software. 625 with 3 gigs of RAM, seems to run it quite nicely. You've also got Android 7.1.1. There's only the Moto app, which is added on as extras in my opinion, and there's only 2 parts to the Moto app included. Not like the Moto X4 where there was 4 parts to that. Here it's just Moto Actions and Moto Display. Now one thing I think that they could have added, which I sorely missed, is swipe down from anywhere to access the notification panel. It's not included and it's a little bit of a stretch up. I think that should be mandatory on any software these days, just to make things a bit easier for everyone. Other than that, the applications open quickly. Scrolling through web pages was a breeze. Going from app to app was not a problem as well. Multitasking, I didn't really get into too much of that. I mean, what I asked the phone to do, it did really well. The software coped really well, and I was very happy with it. It's currently running December security patch and Android 7.1.1. I believe we're going to get Android Oreo, but with Motorola, that could be in 2 years' time, could be in 1 year's time, could be next week. You just don't know with Motorola. Now with that latest software update, there also was some stability improvements, some general enhancements of the software, and also some camera improvements. And I must say there was some definite improvements. I had to refilm this part of the review because I was ready to trash the camera again, just like I did with the Moto X4 review. Two 13 megapixel cameras on the rear, one 8 megapixel camera on the front. And we're going to go through now and have a look at the photos. I will say, in standard point and shoot mode, everything doesn't look too bad. For me, the photos always seem to turn out a little bit too dull unless I actually hit that focus button and focus on what I want to. It's not just pull it out, point and shoot like you do with your flagships. You actually have to tap the focus and then that will adjust the lighting for you and you get a good photo. But if you don't do that, everything will still be in focus, but it's always on the a little bit darker side, unless you have something bright, the sky behind you or the sky in the photo will always be blown out. I can guarantee you that. This camera will blow out the photo. There's no other way to put it, it's just going to do that. However, if you can manipulate your shot using the Pro mode, which they have included on this, you will get a better photo. And I have noticed that with Pro mode, the shutter seems to work quicker. I don't think there's a slight delay with the shutter in normal point and shoot mode, but I don't think it's the camera itself that is slow. I just think it's slow to process that information, which is a real pain. It gives it a slow feeling and a real lag, but the photos don't turn out too bad, as you can see. Coming with the front-facing 8 megapixel camera, as you can see, the sky is pretty blown out, but myself, I'm in good colour. The grass is good, the fence is the right colour, so it seems okay, just that sky is really blown out. Not bad for 8 megapixels. You also have the depth effect, which I think is a bit of a joke. I mean, you can see the examples here. Yes, it does give it a depth effect, but it has troubles identifying the edges of the subject, so definitely you need to be careful with it, because if you do take a portrait shot of someone and use depth effect, their ears and their hair, the edges of their face is probably going to be blurred out and the front part of their face will be in focus. So it does look a bit dodgy. Here I am with the 4K 30 frames per second rear facing camera. I can't see what it's like because I'm behind it, but I imagine it looks pretty good considering the 8 megapixel camera looked okay. You'll look behind, we can see if that sky's blown out. I imagine it would be, because it's a Motorola camera, but generally pretty good. That's 4K 30 frames per second. It also records in 1080p 60 frames per second, so you can record in that format to slow down your footage as well if you want to. So all in all, the camera's not too bad. I'm happy with Motorola. They seem to be putting some effort into improving the camera app. I think they're getting enough feedback now to say, hey, lift your game. So I'm really happy with that. Definitely, I think there's more to come from Motorola, especially in 2018 with their cameras and their devices. Now certainly with the Moto G5S Plus, one area where I'm absolutely stoked with it is when it comes to the battery life. Now I can get, if I use it for work purposes, so that's a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls, the occasional camera use, listen to podcasts in the car while I'm driving around, watching YouTube videos at night, that sort of thing, I can get around a day and a half to 2 days use out of it, because a lot of that time is spent emailing and taking phone calls. However, if I use it as a media device where I'm totally consuming media on it, I get about a full day's use out of it, and I'm really happy with that. 3000 milliamp hour battery, it seems to get right through the day, not a problem at all. And like I said, if I use it sparingly for the media, then I can definitely get 2 days use out of it. So if you're someone who doesn't use your phone a lot, you're definitely going to get 2 days out of every charge for it, but it also comes with quick charge. I definitely got quick charging out of this. Plug it in, it's charged within an hour to an hour and a half from 0 to hero. You will not be unhappy with the battery life. Just going to quickly talk about gaming and benchmarks. Now, I played Asphalt 8 and a bit of Leo's Fortune. They're the two games I really get, a little bit of enjoyment out of. Not much of a gamer, if I do say so myself. But hey, the phone played the games. I didn't have any lag that was noticeable to me. It handled it quite well. It was a pleasant experience. It didn't drop out. It didn't get too hot. I played Asphalt 8 for a little while, then I played Leo's Fortune straight afterwards, then I ran the Geekbench benchmarks and it didn't overheat at all. That aluminium backing seemed to disperse the heat fairly well. Look, this ain't no Razer phone when it comes to gaming, but it held its own and it did its job. If you're going to use this for playing games on, it's going to play the games. For the Geekbench CPU, we're looking at a single core of 826 and a multi-core of 4189. So, like I said, that's low end, but in real world experience, it did the job. It did the job just fine. It's going to multitask apps for you just fine, and it's going to play games for you just fine. I'm going to have to say, for the Moto G5S Plus, get it. If that's in your budget, I wouldn't look at anything else at this price. I would just get the Moto G5S Plus. It's been out for a little while now. It doesn't mean you shouldn't get it. I think you can get it for a great price at the moment. So don't be afraid to go out and pick up the Moto G5S Plus. Hopefully you liked my video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace.